Cactus 316,000 says NES games are only worth anything because of retro gaming, YouTube channels, artificial markets made up to screw people, all the while asking for donations to their channel. Meanwhile, people are doing God's work, making old games available to any and all online for free, and thus preserving history. In 25 years, time, most things John Hancock has swindled out of people's grasp will have disc rot, just stopped working due to old age, or is incompatible with future technology. Donovan. 16-bit era games have value because they originally were seen as toys, and most of their boxes and manuals were thrown away, and the carts themselves treated like crap, creating an organic scarcity years down the line. With the last decade or so explosion in collecting games, most of these current-gen limited releases have been cynically devised to trick people into believing the same will be the case. Firstly, Switch won't be huge in 25 years. It's a tablet essentially, and the units aren't going to have an operating life much longer than 8 to 10 years max. The primary way people will be playing Switch games in a quarter of a century time is on emulators. Secondly, every collector and his dog is buying these limited releases now and keeping them sealed and protected. At most, these things will probably treble in value, not really worth the 25-year-long investment if you ask me. Well, first I'll respond to Cactus there. It is true. That is a true thing, that the prices of NES games have skyrocketed. Now, certain NES games, like, Stadium Events, the Action 52 stuff, of course, the NES World Championship cart, some of those games have always been high because they're very rare, okay? But the thing is, you have a lot of games, SNES, NES games, that have skyrocketed in value, not just because of their scarcity, but because they happen to be hidden gems. Or a YouTuber like Pat the NES Punk might, point to it or talk about it, The market, and a lot of these YouTubers claim that they have no bearing on the market. They have nothing that they do affects the market, but that's a lie. Some of these big channels, some of these big YouTubers, they are kingmakers of certain games. Tomorrow, if there was a game featured on Metal Jesus as a hidden gem, I guarantee you that game would most likely go up in value. Okay? That's just the way of the market. What if other people pick up on it? Do you really think a game like Little Samson would be what it is right now on eBay if YouTube did not exist? Okay? So you make a great point there, Cactus. And in 25 years' time, most things John Hancock has swindled, will have disc rot. I got some, discs that I've, got from other people or like yard sales or something. And I'm pretty sure, it's not going to last forever. Okay? Forever is a concept, all right? These mediums, things will happen. These things will not last forever. Now, if you take care of them, they'll last a lot longer. But the fact of the matter is this. Physical media is great, but, a lot of it's just not going to last. You need to take this physical media and either make copies with, newer types of media, or take a lot of these things and, put them on hard drives. And the thing is, even hard drives might fail. I've got a hard drive that failed. It was a 500 gigabyte, and I had a lot of stuff on there. But, that hard drive, there's really no perfect way, I think, to preserve things other than making just copies. Just, continuing to copy things, I would say. But yeah, certain things will last a lot longer than others. I'm not going to tell you I'm an expert in that field, but I don't know. Anyone that's an expert in that, maybe leave some comments down below, and you might teach the radical one something. That's an interesting topic there. How long different mediums last. And to what you say, Donovan, your view, you had some things in common with Cactus, but you basically laid out there, which is also a truth, that many of these things have value because, back in the day, a lot of kids, They would just throw away the boxes, the manuals. Nowadays people look at that and they're like, oh my God, you would throw away a box. You would throw away a manual. Some of these YouTubers would have a freaking heart attack. I'm not saying that I wouldn't, have hated the idea of someone, throwing away a lot of boxes and manuals to some of these games. But the same thing happens with different things like comics. A big reason older comics from the Golden Age, Silver Age are so sought after is because it's hard to find some of those in really great condition. But not to switch gears, but I like talking about different kind of things. In the world of comics in the 1990s, there was a big rush in the early 90s. Comic collecting became freaking huge, man. And everyone was getting multiples of the first issue. They were getting alternate covers. They were going crazy. Okay. And you had these people that would make the comics, and they would make, in some instances, 5, 6, all different kind of variant comics, and they were raking in the money because you had these collectors buying up these things like crazy. Buying up things, like you said later in your comment, a lot of people buying up Switch games, the limited run Switch games. But you know what happened? They're really not worth that much now. You had comic cards. People, they were like cards. Well, pretty much self-explanatory, comic cards. And you had that being a big market. But now, a lot of those holograms, the Venom, Carnage holograms from the Spider-Man set, the X-Men holograms. The X-Men card set had some amazing holograms. They were some of the first ones that came out, I think, and they looked fantastic. But some of those are selling for a fraction of what they once sold for. You know why? Because they really aren't rare. A lot of that stuff was mass produced. Now you might say, well, limited run Switch games. See, there's only a limited amount of this. So this is going to be sought after, huh? Earthlock is going to be worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars in the future. In 15, 20 years, it's a sound investment. Not particularly. Not particularly, because it's a freaking crowded market. Certain things might be sought after, yes, but I don't think in 25 years people are going to be like going crazy to get a limited box Earthlock.